I once got a key to a city.
Which one?
I got a crowbar. Come anytime I want to. Get what I want, dip out.
Okay.
I like it, Skip. I think Toronto has a very compelling case. I don't think Kawhi in his wildest dreams or imaginations thought when he was going from San Antonio to Toronto that they were going to win a title. Because they shipped him, a lot of times, what do you try and do, Skip? If someone wants out and they made the situation unattainable, you try to ship them to the worst place imaginable to give them the least opportunity to be successful. Well, you can't get much further where they shipped him than Toronto. They shipped him there hoping that it would all go awry. And Kawhi Leonard being the Kawhi that I know, they sent him.
You know him.
I know the Kawhi that I know from what I see on TV.
Okay, yeah.
Skip, you've heard the story of how they send a young boy away to this wilderness and he comes back a king.
Oh.
Well, you shipped him to Toronto and now he's the king of Toronto. I believe it's 60-40 that they keep him, Skip, because it's going to be very difficult to leave a championship winning, not contending. A lot of times when they're close, they're contending. No. We're not contenders. We're the winners of the NBA championship. And I think, Skip, when he looks back, because it's reported that one of the things that ticked Kawhi off early is that the Spurs didn't think he was a max player. So money, it might not be the overwhelming, but it is an underlying issue. He wants to be compensated for what he believes is his unbelievable talent. He's the best two-way player in basketball. I believe he's a top 3 player. Now, Kevin Durant gets removed from that mix because he's not going to be playing this year, but he's a top 3 player, Skip. So he's going to want to be compensated. Now, giving up, he can make 5 years, stay in Toronto, 5 years, $191 million, or he can move along, 4 years, $141 million. Skip, that's $50 million after he's already given up $30 million by leaving San Antonio. That's $80 million. I know billionaires that don't give up $80 million, let alone high millionaires. So for me, Skip, I believe Toronto has a very, very compelling case to keep him. And like I said, I love that he's not saying anything. He's not being emotional. Because sometimes, Skip, at a parade, everybody's chanting your name, Kawhi, MVP. And you're like, yeah, you know what? We're going to do it again. Let's run it back. Kawhi's coming back. Kawhi's coming back. Because if you remember, Skip, you and I, we had this discussion. You remember early in the season at Fan Appreciation Day in Boston? Kyrie got up there and says, I would love to come back if you would have me. Now, it's reported that Kyrie ain't spoke to the Celtics in 2 to 3 weeks. You see what happens when emotions are high? Logic is low. So you don't say anything out of emotion, Skip. You keep it, you stand up there, yep. It's hard to know the Raptors. Nobody knows what makes Kawhi tick. He doesn't know, Skip. It can't be because they've done everything. They rolled out the red carpet, the blue carpet, the green carpet, whatever kind of carpet you need to try to appease Kawhi. They've done it. You want off back-to-backs? Take it. You need another game? Take it. Your girl, your mom want to fly on the team plan? Bring her. You need this? Get it. You want your family to have access? Get it. They've done everything they can do. They don't know what makes Kawhi tick because I'm not so sure Kawhi knows what makes Kawhi tick. He doesn't have TV. He doesn't have streaming service. He just sits up in his room and he just like, hey, I'm going to... I think I got a game tomorrow. Let me show up and drop 30 on him like he did. He said, you know what, Skip? He didn't even know he was in a game 7.
Really?
He said, you know what? I'm just going to show up and drop the game winner, do something nobody's ever done.
Really?
A game 7 buzzer beater.
Did he sit at home plotting, planning, I'll shoot it short and it'll bounce 4 times on the rim and fall?
Stop
Is that his plan? That's what he sits home.
He planned it to go and he said 5, like a little kid. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
He practices that shot. He practices hitting the front side of the rim from the corner.
He practiced the shot going in.
Boing, boing, down.
Such a hater.
Yeah, even you said, I thought it missed.
I did.
I did too. I thought it was bouncing down to the floor, right? I don't know.
But it wasn't me to do.
I don't know if it won you do.
It won me do because you say, oh, number 2, he can't handle that pressure.
Well, he can't.
He did.
So let me say that I am happy for Toronto Raptor fans. Very happy for them. But that's where my happiness stops. Because I have never been less happy for anybody at a parade than I was for that guy yesterday.
That's a shame, Skip. You ought to be ashamed of yourself.
No, it's not a shame. It's just the truth. Because he's going to stiff the Raptor fans just the way he stiffed Spurs Nation. That's who he is and how he's built. This was nothing but 1 year stuck in purgatory in Toronto. And by the way, it's not exactly a small town in the wilderness up there. It's a great international city. And I'm sure he came to like, not love, but like parts of it except for the weather because he's just not really a snow guy. Okay? Who is, right?
How many free agents is going up to Toronto? You know what I mean? I'm not saying it's a bad, I mean, it's a major city.
Oh,
but free agents are not flocking to Toronto.
Probably not. But so what? You can, this is what made me sick about it is these poor Raptors players, all except Van Vliet, who is the closer for that team. He's the only one who took a stand and said, hey, if he leaves us next year, we'll just kick his ass. And he wasn't trying to be funny about it. There was no tongue in cheek to that. That's the attitude you should have. We've done everything we can do to show him how great it is here. And now just let it sit. Let life play out. If he wants to leave, we can't stop him because that's his prerogative right now, right? And it was his prerogative to quit on my Spurs and just force his way out of town. And he did. And he pulled it off because sometimes basketball crime pays. And it paid once again because he's up there smoking his big old cigar. Puffing away. Way to go.
He made one of them Dunhill, one of them Michael Jordan guys.
It was big. And they stayed over in Vegas at an extra night because they were still celebrating. Yeah. Way to go. And yeah, what were they really celebrating? They were celebrating luck. How lucky they were.
Oh, my
because
God.
How lucky were they to win this championship? How lucky was he? He hit the lucky shot in the history of the playoffs, that shot we talked about, 7th game against Philadelphia. And then what happened right on cue? It was meant to be. The injury god said, let there be number 2. Because if Kevin Durant doesn't rupture his Achilles after he was on fire making his first 3 threes, we're having a different conversation. They're not going to win that series. If Klay Thompson doesn't wreck his knee, with 2 minutes left in the third quarter of Game 6, we're going to have a different conversation. He was on fire. He was having the game of his life. It's luck, 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 meant to be everywhere. Embiid, sick, hurt, game after game. They're not better than Philadelphia. Philadelphia would have won that. If he were right, if he had been just not ill, there's always something wrong with him. And remember, we'd go through half a game and it looked like you didn't even want to play.
But why do you, let me ask you a question, Skip. Why do you make all these excuses like Toronto won, but you never made this in 2015 when Golden State won?
I did.
When they missed Kevin Love, they missed Kyrie, they missed Conley, they missed Allen. They missed all these guys that were injured, and everybody's like applauding. Nobody said anything about that.
Glad you brought that up. I said it on the old show, and I tweeted it right after the old show. How lucky was Golden State? Because every round, the point guard was hurt.
Yes.
Right? Every round. It was Drew Holiday, the first one, and then I can't remember. It just kept going.
Yes.
Every round, all the way up to Kyrie in overtime of Game 1. He fractures his knee.
And Kevin Love.
Right? Okay. Love was already out.
Right.
But it was point guards were down, right?
Yes.
Okay. So I tweeted that, and Steph fired back at me on Twitter, saying blah, blah, blah. I can't remember what his response was, but he was hot about it. Okay? But it was just the truth. And this is even a bigger truth because this is Kevin Durant and Klay Thompson, the guy I picked to be the MVP of that series, and he was well on his way. So celebrate all you want because it was just meant to be.
You see, Skip, you what you're trying to do is that you're trying to already turn the fans against Kawhi.
I'm not trying to turn it. I'm just telling you what I think.
Oh, he's going to skip.
It's just my opinion.
Skip. Sometimes.
He will.
Look, you can look at it says, sometimes, and Jenny, I like to do this a lot, Jen, is that you can look at a relationship and when it ends and says, oh, it's over, I'm sorry that it happened. But what about the good times? Were there ever any good times? Can Toronto fans look back and say, you know what? It only lasted 1 year. But it was a magical 1 year, and we have a title. That's the way I look at it. Yeah. Even the relationships. I've been in a few relationships, Skip, they've ended. But I don't look at that it ended. I look at, you know what? We did have a good 2 years.
Oh, now you look back fondly on those great times.
I always did. I just think there's a way to do all things. But I'm going to look back. I'm having a good old time because O'Shea going to win me. O'Shea going to win me.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
O'Shea's way behind.
Oh, no.
He's got a long way to go. Because, you know what? Maybe you're right. Because sometimes good things do happen to bad people.
Stop saying that. Hold on. Kawhi Leonard, stop. I want you to stop saying that, Skip Bayless. Kawhi Leonard is not a bad person. He felt that he was treated unfairly. He said, I'm injured. And you tried to force him to play. Sometimes, Skip, you coax, you're like, okay, Kawhi, what do you... That's a guy. Skip, that's not a Danny Green. Danny Green, you're like, okay, we done. So you massage what you need. You want to take off? Take off.
So
And
he
then
just
you would have been
showed, he
rewarded.
just set the new example for NBA players. If you don't like your situation, just quit.
know,
Just say I won't go.
Yeah, but he didn't
I'm
quit.
hurt. I'm hurt. I
He
got a
was.
thigh bruise.
What
I
did-
got tendinosis. That's how you do it. That's the new way of the NBA.
Well, maybe what did the independent doctor say? Say, you know what? I do see something.
Oh, there's maybe something in there. Maybe. Maybe.
And he said it.
Hard to know.
And he said it, Skip. He said it hurt him. It bothered him that people thought he was faking. A man that came from where he came from, after going through what he went through, seeing his father get killed at a car wash, overcoming that. Now he gets to the highest level. Now I'm good. I don't want to play no more now.
Greatest quote in the history of quotes came out of the mouth of Cinch Hall of Famer Tony Parker. My injury is 100 times worse than his. 100 times. He tore his quadriceps tendon.
Skip, okay.
Tore it.
Okay, think about this. He did, and maybe his injury was, but what did it get him? He rushed himself back, and guess what? The Spurs ushered him out, and a year later, because he came back too soon, he wasn't healthy, now he's done. And Kawhi said, that's not going to happen to me.
Oh, okay. Crime pays. It works. Way to go.
Well, what about when teams do that to players? Okay, what about that? Well, who gonna pay Isaiah Thomas, little Isaiah Thomas, for playing with that torn labrum in his hip and missing out on $100 million? Is the Boston Celtics gonna recompensate him?
Did number 2 have a torn labrum in his hip? No.
He was injured.
Okay.
He felt that he couldn't play. Skip.
Was it career threatening?
It could have been. It could have been.
Okay. Way to go. I still love Fred VanVleet because he was the closer for this team, and he was the guy who didn't disappear. He saved them when number 2 disappeared 3 times down the stretch of 3 fourth quarters in games 2, 5, and 6.